Okay, at this time, we have a public comment period set aside for any topic other than quasi-judicial matters or anything we've got scheduled for a public hearing. Each person has a 3-minute period of time, and it starts after you give your name and address for the record. So at this time, I'd like to call up Angela Flood.
You need my address.
Name and address for the record, please.
Well, land use hearing, but you need my address. My name is Angela Flood. I live at 287 Canyonview Drive in Lafayette, Oregon, 97127. The First Amendment says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. While I am presenting today, I want you to think of those words and how they are being applied in this room and in this county. I asked to be placed on the agenda so I would have time, without interruption, to present my information. I was informed that citizens require the Commissioner's approval to be placed on the agenda. While I am not here to be disrespectful to the Commission, neither am I here to be subservient and buzz at the 3-minute mark. I am asking that you let me complete my presentation. This is a copy of the org chart for the county. Keeping in mind that you are not elected to serve the interests of the county, but to serve the interests of citizens in county affairs, would you agree that citizens are in the right spot on this chart? I just asked you a question, and according to your form, I'm not allowed to ask you a question. So I just wanted, this form is just beyond me. The commission is a form that is required to be completed in order to testify here. This form requires a lot of information that if not filled out completely, intimates one will not be allowed to testify. The form requires a signature on the land use items. The form states it is to allow one to participate in off-agenda items. That implies public comment will be received on agenda items. After discussion and before calling for a vote on agenda items, look out upon your constituents and ask for their input. Regarding the prayer, Lee Rowland recently wrote, in part, when we're thinking about the First Amendment, who the speaker is means everything. If you go out to a public park to fly the flag you salute, the First Amendment has your back, full stop. As Justice Samuel Alito wrote, the distinction between government speech and private speech is critical and lies at the very core of the First Amendment's protection. Your individual liberty to speak, unconstrained by government, is at the heart of both the First Amendment and our American tradition of protest and freedom. The First Amendment is a check on government's attempt to regulate speech by its citizens. It protects the speech of the governed, but not the speech of the government. The right to see and react to each other's speech is particularly important when the speaker is our own government, using our tax dollars and speaking in our collective name. We don't just have the right to hoot and holler and object to government actions we disagree with. We have a civic duty to do so. This is where things get tricky with prayer being done as a matter of agenda. Either this is a representation of a voice in our community, or this is being done as a governmental action. As the county has no policy in place, then one can make the case that it is being done as a single voice from our community. As such, making a place for them on the agenda, while not making the same place for any other citizen, requires review. If the action is being done as a governmental action, then a policy needs to be set in place. A policy that allows for an employee to exempt themselves from the process.
Okay, how much more time are you thinking?
I have basically a page and a half.
You can finish it up another minute?
Probably 3 minutes. So you're bridging.
I'll give you another minute. I'll give you another minute. Yeah.
A policy that allows for an employee to exempt themselves from the process without retaliation. A policy that does not permit the commissioners to recruit for their prayer, but rather than allow those in the community who wish to speak at this dedicated time to come forward. If the time frame for public comment is to be controlled at a 3-minute limitation, then the invocation needs to be regulated the same as any other citizen presentation. It is my hope the Commission will create a policy to be more inclusive of the community as a whole and a more definitive and appropriate role government should be taking when representing the collective. As an alternative, all restrictions on contributions could simply be removed. On public records, $2 million are being spent on highly paid tax-funded lobbyists. These lobbyists coach cities and counties to advise they cannot afford to comply with records requests. If officials want to restore trust, can they afford not to provide sunlight into the transactions being made on citizens' behalf? Too many officials who don't want information known or are ignorant of the true value of disclosure buy into the arguments. We pay for the paper, the staff, the computers they are stored on, and the binders and filing cabinets they are stored in.
Time, Commissioner.
Continue on, I'm interested.
Document policies across the county departments are inconsistent. Victims are charged for police reports, and county administration keeps most items under lock and key. For the right price or the right person, these documents become available. That is not trust building. Oregon HB 3505, presented and sponsored by Julie Parrish, sought to bring some sanity to the charges and delays involved in public records. This bill never made it out of committee due to the tactics employed by the LOC. During testimony for HB 3505, Bill Johnstone, Oregon Association broadcaster, stated media must often make business decisions about what they report on based on the charges that will be incurred to get documents. Reporting may not occur at all due to delays. Elections may be influenced, as in the case of former Governor Kitzhaber and the refusal to release documents when requested. Often, in order to provide information for redress of grievances with the government, citizens need documentation. Citizens must be allowed untethered access to that information. It cannot be hindered by charges or delays. The practice of charging fees for documents is an abridgment of a free press and redress, and it needs to stop. If you truly believe in the Constitution, then let's do this. Let's go all in. My goal is to see all county documents be made available online and in real time. It doesn't have to be all documents at once. Pick a date and start there going forward. And if someone requests something, put it online. In lieu of that, all documents should be made available free of charge. There is precedence for this in other states, and Oregon continues to lag behind in transparency, and it is not acceptable. I promise you, despite the statements made by lobbyists and staff, no one is going to make thousands of requests at a time. Might people make requests that officials may be embarrassed to release? Quite possibly, but when the documents become hard to come by, citizens become suspicious and animosity is generated. In the private sector, if an employee delayed or charged their manager for information, they would be fired. Yet this seems to be completely acceptable by government towards citizens. We need a government run like a business, not a business run like government. I would like to see the county institute and publicize a whistleblower system for reports of fraud, waste, and abuse of tax dollars. This system should include a reward for the person reporting rather than being punitive. Instead of spending dollars on fighting sunlight, government should be opening the doors and saying, come on in, we are open. If you believe in supporting the continued curtailment of constitutional rights afforded citizens, then you must be prepared to have your own curtailed as well. Or you could choose to be leaders in transparency. You could take this opportunity to show what that looks like to others. We need you to start a trend. You weren't afraid to take control in the Second Amendment conversation. Citizens are asking you to drive the bus on the first. Set the bar high and expect others to join you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mrs. Flood, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just a little confused because in a communication with our administration, you mentioned that you were deaf. I just wanted to
am
know.
deaf.
You are deaf, but you
I
can't
can
hear.
watch you talk, and I can use the sound when you're talking.
And
But
you-
your hand
you
is
can hear
up,
me.
and we got another issue.
Well, okay, well, earlier you did respond when I talked to you from behind. I just wanted to know how to communicate with you in the future if you did state that you were deaf.
Because I wear a hearing aid, and I hear sounds, and so I turn to that.
Okay, just wanted to know for clarification for my own. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
At this time,